Hello guys, welcome to another video. At the moment we are situated in South Croatia, precisely in Dalmatia. Look at this beautiful scenery around us. In the next few days, Valencia is gonna cook for you some domestic delicious food. I hope you're gonna love it and maybe include in your cuisine.
Hello guys, we're here at the Adriatic Sea in the middle of the Dalmatia in Croatia. We have a wonderful Adriatic coast over here. As you can see, the sea is right here in front of us. Today we're going to make a baguette. This is a small piece of bread that has a crusty skin and it's soft inside. It needs only a few ingredients. We have flour, plain regular flour. We have salt, a little bit of sugar, yeast and lukewarm water. Let's get started. First, we're going to have 500 grams of plain regular flour. After the flour, we're going to put some salt and yeast and sugar. You should be careful though not to mix salt with the yeast all together because they are actually an enemy to each other. So on 500 grams of flour, you should put 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Actually, my teaspoon is around 9 grams of salt. So put the salt on the side. Create a hole in the flour. Put the yeast, it's an instant yeast, also 1.5 spoons. And put the sugar together with the yeast because they are very friendly to each other, 1.5 spoons. Now it's important that you have a lukewarm water. If you taste it, it won't burn your tongue, then the temperature of the water is quite nice. You need just your fingers, you don't need any special tools for this, but if you would like to use a wooden spoon, that's okay. Just put a little bit of water, mix the sugar and the yeast together. As you can see, the salt is left on the sides and it's not in this mixture. Put some flour on top. After we have mixed the sugar and the yeast together, we're going to have to wait for 15 or 20 minutes before it rises. After 15 minutes, the yeast has risen and now we can mix the dough. First put some flour on top, mix all together. Put some lukewarm water, around 300 ml. Sometimes it might be a little bit more or a little bit less. It depends on the flour, it depends on the humidity in the air. You will know when it's enough because the dough has to have a fine consistency. Your dough needs to be soft, and so you will have the opportunity to mix it like this to put all the ingredients together. If you feel that you have sticky fingers, no problem with that. After we put some more flour, this will be all gone. Don't worry about sticky hands. Just mix for 2 or 3 minutes. Then we're going to add some more flour to thicken the dough. Just scrape with your hand the sides of the bowl. We're going to add some more flour. So you see the dough has a great consistency. We're going to transfer it to the kitchen table. When mixing the dough, use your bottom part of your palm. This is the best way to create all those glutens naturally in the dough. At this stage you need to knead the dough well so it's pliable and workable, but don't overdo it because it will be very tough dough then. You should mix and knead about 5 minutes. And now your dough is ready. You should feel it as a balloon full of water. It should have a weight and not to be too firm. Just put some flour on the bottom of the bowl and something on the dough and let it rise for at least an hour or until it's doubled the size. Here we are after an hour, and you can see the dough has risen quite well. It's very nice, it's very soft and smooth, and we're going to divide it into 2 parts and leave it to rise once again before the baking. Just need a couple of minutes. Shape it a little bit just to be able to cut in half. Put aside and shape once more. Now you need to roll the dough in the shape of a sausage. Move your hands back and forth and at the same time try to stretch the dough. It seems quite thin, but the dough will rise once again and it will have the perfect shape of the baguette. It doesn't have to be perfect because the baguette has a rustic shape. We're going to thin the ends and place it on the top of the parchment sheet. It's important to cut the dough before it rises so you have decorative cuts on top of the baguette. And now we will leave it rise again for another 20 or 30 minutes till it doubles its size. The dough has risen, and before we place it in the oven, we need to cover it or sprinkle it with a little bit of water. That way you will have a nice crust and a good color of bread. And now we are ready to put it in the oven. The temperature is 200 degrees Celsius and it's left on the fan. Leave it in a hot oven for at least 20 minutes, then check. If the crust is hard, you can get it out. After 23 minutes, our baguette has golden color. These baguettes are a little bit shorter, as you see, because we have a rather small pan for the oven. But in case you have a larger pan, you can spread your baguette even larger. Just remember, it has to have a long shape. The crust is very hard and the baguette is very hot. We will leave it for a couple of minutes to get colder. The baguette has cooled down. Look at how it looks. It's baked all over in golden color. Let's give it a try. You can see the texture. It's really soft. We have the thin crust that is rather crispy, if you can hear the sound. The crust is quite firm.
Okay guys, being producer has its own benefits because you can try the food all the time. So let's taste Valencia's bread now. It's crazy. I'm telling you guys, it's really crazy. Taste is perfect. I'm encouraging you to use her recipe. You're never gonna buy bread in the supermarket again.